down and I shot my hands right up. I knew I had won.
The winner by majority decision.
I was just so happy that the fight was over because I was just hurting.
And new heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah!
Winning the title off him was the start of my career.
Former heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield was brought to a local hospital tonight diagnosed with a serious heart condition.
I was doing good in the fight. I was winning the fight and got lackadaisical and just got caught with that one punch.
World-renowned Mayo Clinic reported that Evander Holyfield is in excellent shape and no restrictions, including boxing, should be placed on the former champ.
I wanted the title when I won off of Evander. I wanted this more. I wanted to be in that elite group of being a two-time heavyweight champion.
The winner, once again, Michael.
You don't want to fight no more? I swear to God, I will have this man stop the fight if you don't want to fight.
I don't think Bob is going to finish. Bill's Lane. This fight's over. Steps in and stops the fight early in round 12. Against Mike Tyson, Holyfield is a prohibitive underdog. No matter what happens from here on in, we are looking at a sports legend in the purple trunks, Evander Holyfield. The top is not the fight, and Holyfield has I can't believe what I'm seeing.
There's a talk about a winner of the Tyson-Holyfield fight, which will be splendid.
We're getting to see strange things happen in boxing.
Mike was having his best
He
friend
hit him again.
He did it again. Evander Holyfield for the second time, and it is all out. It's over. It's over.
I'm one of the type of guy I was born to win. I don't like losing anything.
This is a fight. He has a title, I have a title. May the best man win.
This is a promotion of Don King Productions in association with Main Events, Fight Night, and The Mirage. Brought to you by Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers. This Bud's for you. The official round clock is presented by Golden Ram Computer Memory. Pay-per-view distributed by Showtime Event Television.
The amount of world championship boxing matches that have been fought in Las Vegas just might rival the number of lights adorning the famous strip. Along this sparkling boulevard, the bigger and brighter signs attract the most attention. In boxing, it's the big men that are the main attraction. The heavyweights are the headliners, and the division's championship is the sport's most coveted prize. Tonight, Evander Holyfield and Michael Moore fight to unify two world heavyweight championships. Although our host tonight's big show is the incredible Mirage Hotel, the action takes place across town under the roof of the Thomas and Mack Arena. In their first encounter 3.5 years ago, a valiant Holyfield desperately tried to hold on to his crown as a determined Moore successfully fought to seize it. Tonight, the rematch has all the makings of an all-out war. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Hill, your host for tonight's coverage of what has become a rarity in boxing, a world title unification bout. Now, due to the modern-day politics and policies of the sport, it has become increasingly difficult to get title holders in the ring at the same time. Currently, none of the weight divisions in boxing has an undisputed champion. Mike Tyson was the last heavyweight to unify the crown, which was passed on to Buster Douglas. Then Holyfield, and finally Riddick Bowe, who then threw the division back into chaos by immediately relinquishing the WBC belt. That act set into motion a series of events that resulted in some portion of the title bouncing back and forth between Lennox Lewis, George Foreman, Francois Botha, Frank Bruno, Bruce Seldon, Oliver McCall, and Mike Tyson, and the two participants this evening. So as we embark down the road to the heavyweight championship unification, tonight's main event victor will take a giant step towards staking his claim on heavyweight supremacy. Joining me tonight is the only man who has trained both Holyfield and Moore, and the current WBC titleist Lennox Lewis. Providing a very unique perspective on tonight's events is the renowned Hall of Fame boxing trainer Emanuel Stewart. And Manny, it is just wonderful to have you with us, and we're looking forward to talking to you tonight.
I think it's going to be a wonderful fight, Jim.
Now, obviously, you know both fighters very well, inside and out, having trained them. I'd like you to give us just a little insight as they go into this bout tonight.
Well, I think both fighters are motivated going into this fight, I think for different reasons. First of all, Evander wants to prove that the last fight was a fluke and he really was injured. Michael Moore right now has been really maybe one of the boringest heavyweights we've had in years, and he wants to prove that he once again can be an exciting prize fighter. And I think you're going to have a very emotionally high-paced fight tonight.
No matter who wins, do you think the winner will go on and try and unify the division?
I think definitely that both of the guys who are going into the fight tonight have made up their minds that they're going to try to unify the title by fighting Lennox Lewis after this.
Okay. Emmanuel, thank you so much once again for being with us, and we look forward to talking to him and getting his comments throughout the course of the evening. Now, for more on the Holyfield-Moore rematch, let's go down to ringside and Steve Albert. Steve.
All right, thank you, Jim. So why is this the best fight for Evander Holyfield and Michael Moore to take at this time? Holyfield beat Mike Tyson twice. He has nothing left to prove. He's got his health, a healthy bank account, a palatial estate outside Atlanta, a loving wife and family. Why fight IBF heavyweight champion Michael Moore? Well, when I recently put that to Holyfield, he simply said because Moore is there. In addition, he feels that time is running out, and Moore is the only unavenged loss in his career. Meanwhile, for Michael Moore, this is an opportunity to repeat a win over an Evander Holyfield whose star has never shone brighter, thereby dispelling the cloud of doubt hanging over the first victory when Holyfield was thought to have fought in a state of cardiac distress. We'll have more on that later, but right now, let me bring on my ringside partners. First, the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. And Ferdy, tell us about the problems Holyfield and Moore have had to overcome since their last meeting.
Well, let's take Holyfield first. Holyfield appeared to all of us to be a fighter on the way out, on the way to the stable. He got tired with every fight. Even when he fought our partner Bobby Ches, 5 rounds of a tough fight, he was exhausted. Bobby was ready to go on, and he was staggering around, tired as he could be. As we saw with Bo, couldn't knock out Bo. Then there was a question of the medical miracle of a hole in the heart. Did he have one? Did it go away? If it did, it was a medical miracle. Everything was questioned, his strength, everything but his desire was questioned. Then he comes in, shocks us all with one of the great performances of maybe the last 2 decades in upsetting Tyson, who was considered unbeatable. Outstrengthened him, outfought him, did everything possible. Now, he's overcome all that and he's together. He's ready to come march forward and unify the title. On the other side is indecision. On Moore's side is a guy that doesn't know whether he wants to be the champion or whether he wants to fight or whether he wants to be a Navy SEAL or a paratrooper. You can't figure out what this guy wants, and he fights that way. He's good one day and terrible the next. I don't think I've seen a good heavyweight look as bad as he did against Bean, and he's very good when he's good. So therefore, indecisiveness on the part of Moore, which he claims to have whipped by getting Freddie Roach in the corner and getting his head straight. That's what we're going to find tonight. If he's dedicated, if he's focused, if he wants it bad enough, we're going to see one heck of a fight.
All right, with that, let's turn to our other partner here, Bobby Ches, the subject of the corners. Of course, Michael Moore has made a significant change. Teddy Atlas is out, Freddie Roach is in, and as far as Evander Holyfield, he's basically remained with the same trainers, Don Turner and Tommy Brooks. Your take on that and how that will affect the fight?
We know, Steve, in boxing, continuity is a wonderful thing. Evander Holyfield has that continuity with his corner, and yet this is the same corner that Michael Moore has already beaten, so maybe they've made the proper adjustments in their minds to defeat Moore in the rematch. Now, Michael Moore, not just continuity, he needs comfort. He didn't have it with Teddy Atlas and some of the previous trainers, but now with Freddie Roach, he says he has comfort, he's comfortable, he's happy, he's going to be the heavyweight champion everybody thought he had the ability to be. The big question remains, Steve, for me and for everybody tonight is, how will this corner meld in the heat of battle at this level? Evander Holyfield, one of the best heavyweights of his time, and on top of that, the heavyweight championship, the unification of the heavyweight championship of the world at stake. We don't know what will happen in actual fight circumstances, but it's got to be different than a gym, and you know Evander's going to press him. We're going to find out real fast.
You think Holyfield has an edge because of that continuity?
Well, you know, I think Evander just has an overall confidence because of his ethical workout. He just does everything with his whole body, mind, and soul. He puts everything into it. Michael Moore cannot get focused enough all the time. His weight fluctuates, his motivation fluctuates, the number of punches fluctuates. He's never the same guy twice. Evander has had some lows, has had some troubles, but he looks like he's on the money the last 2 times out.
Yes, indeed. We look forward to your comments throughout the night, as well as those of the fight doctor. Right now, let's go to another member of our broadcast team. That's our roving reporter, and that's Jim Gray. Jim?
All right. Thank you very much, Steve. Well, usually by this time, both fighters have arrived, but Evander Holyfield The champion of the WBA is not here yet. Of course, this is not on the same side as to where they are staying. They're staying at the Mirage Hotel, and Holyfield may be caught in some traffic on his way. Michael Moore entered, the IBF heavyweight champion, 39-1. He brings the record into the ring, came by himself, very calm, collected, cool, with his thoughts, by himself, no entourage. As you see him walking in, he is here some 2.5 hours before the fight, and we are now joined in the locker room by Michael Moore. Michael, just how difficult is it? We were talking before we came on television. How tough is this 2.5 hours before the fight?
I'm sure every fighter would agree. This is the worst part about it. You know, the nerves get to take over and things like that.
What do you do with this time? You were trying to sleep. Can you possibly sleep in this instance?
Oh yeah, I'm relaxed. It's just the intensity. I can relax. I'm fine.
Do you feel as though you'll be able to rise to the level of this competition? It's been said that you kind of fight to the competition. Can you rise this evening to the level of Evander Holyfield?
I think I can. I've trained for it, so I'm sure I can do it.
You've been annoyed. Really, the only statements that have come out of either camp is you've been annoyed at his seemingly lack of respect and his giving you credit for your victory a few years ago. Has that bothered you, and does it bother you as you go into the fight tonight?
No, not necessarily. It doesn't bother me. That was 3.5 years ago. It's something that I'm not going to focus on. Two totally different fighters now.
And since he is a different fighter as well as yourself, what makes you think that you can be successful as you were the last time?
Because I'm a confident person, a strong-minded person. If I want to do something, I'll do it.
Have you gotten more confidence from the change in your corner, having Teddy Atlas leave and now bringing in Freddie Roach?
That has nothing to do with it. Just being the person within myself. That's all.
What type of confidence have you gained? Because maybe we haven't seen that in a few of your past fights, specifically against Vaughn Bean.
Well, it's those are fights that are behind me. These are the fights that's going to be most important to me now.
Mike, we wish you a lot of luck tonight. Thanks for the access.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, let's send it back upstairs now to Jim Hill.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Now, tonight's fight card features 4 world title bouts. 2 in the cruiserweight division, a featherweight title defense by one of boxing's more accomplished champions, and, of course, the WBA heavyweight fight between Evander Holyfield and, of course, we're going against Michael Moore. So we begin about
It's our main event, Holyfield versus Moore, to another scenic. We look down on the Thomas and Mack Center on the campus of UNLV. We're closing in on the rematch between Evander Holyfield and Michael Moore. That's our featured fight upcoming from here in Las Vegas, hosted by the Mirage Hotel. Holyfield, Moore 2, coming up next. Let's go to Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Steve. By the chairman of the Mirage Resorts, Mr. Steve Wynn himself. Great to be back at the Mirage, Steve. You're back in boxing. How competitive is it for you to get these fights these days?
Well, it's always fun to be around King, but what happened this time was that Evander Holyfield won his championship at the Mirage and lost it, as a matter of fact, to Riddick Bowe. And we've always felt like we've had sort of a special relationship with Evander. So when Don King sidled up, as he does, and
like
said,
only he can.
As only he can, and said he's coming back again, do you want to have the fight? We said, yeah. Fun to have King around, but really fun to have Evander, too.
Let me ask you, Steve, you're building a new hotel just beyond the Mirage. It's called the Bellagio, and you've said that your mission isn't for it to be the best hotel in Las Vegas, but the best hotel in the world. How's it coming, and when will it open?
Well, that's pretty puffy talk. And when we said it, we were talking to one another. We really meant it. It's an easy thing to say, but it's a very difficult thing to do because there are great hotels in Las Vegas. But we've taken almost 6 years to do this. We're 48, 49 weeks out, and we've done everything that we knew how to do to make it a dream. And the hotel will be ready next October. And, when it comes to hotels, I got a theory about this, Jim. There's nothing more boring than hearing a hotel owner talk about his own hotel. The proof is in the building. Everybody's going to get a chance to see it in a few months. And I think Bellagio will speak for itself. Meantime, I'm always scared. See, I always think no one's going to show up. So we overdo it.
Steve, we look forward to the Bellagio, and it is really a pleasure to be back at the Mirage Hotel. It's one of the finest hotels in the world, and the service is just terrific. Good to see you, Steve. Thanks to Steve Wynn. We'll be back here in just a moment here at the Thomas and Mack Center.
Then Television and Don King Productions hit the web hard. SETboxing.com invites you to sit ringside with us and call the fight as you see it, live on the internet. Log on right now, watch a round, then tell us who you think won it. We'll hear you on the web, and then you'll see it on the air.
Online scoring. Holyfield 5-1.
Then you can compare the online score with that of the judges at the end of each and every bout. SETboxing.com also gives you minute-by-minute news, views, and expert analysis with a hit report. Gain interactive insight into the lives of all of tonight's fighters. We've got the bios, we've got the stats, the tactics, and the trainers. So get up, get on, and get into the action. Hit the web hard at SETboxing.com or on AOL at keyword RealFans.
The countdown to the main event has begun. Soon it will be champion versus champion, a desire for revenge versus a quest for respect. Holyfield versus Moorer for the unification of the WBA and the IBF heavyweight championships. Now, the first fight between Evander Holyfield and Michael Moorer was a dramatic crossroads for both men. It was a career-threatening encounter for Holyfield and a career breakthrough for Moorer. Consequently, the two men who are in the ring have different views of what transpired and why. So let's revisit that fateful night that set the stage for tonight's sequel.
Any questions from the challenger? Any questions from the champion? Let's get it on!
Evander Holyfield has always maintained that entering the ring that night, he was suffering from an injured shoulder.
Well, I hurt my shoulder in the Red Bull fight. I strained it real bad.
I think the type of person Evander is, if it was something wrong, he wouldn't have took the fight.
Right from the opening bell, Moorer took control of the fight with his right-hand jab.
He can't fight a southpaw. I think I was beating him with my jab.
It wasn't bothering me, but it was keeping me at bay where I just couldn't walk in on it. I mean, it was a good stiff jab, and it was quick.
My jab was always in his face. He couldn't do nothing about it.
And you know, come the second round, I realized that he was getting confident and I was gonna catch it.
I think I was trying to throw a bomb with the uppercut. And I lifted my head up and he caught me with a left hook.
I just didn't have enough time to really get on him, and then the bell rung. But after that round, I didn't have nothing left in my shoulder.
As the bout progressed, the rounds were close, but most ringside observers were giving Moorer the edge for his dominating jab.
Evander can't fight backing up, especially a southpaw.
Rub my shoulder, my left shoulder. Rub his left shoulder. My left shoulder. Left shoulder. Give me a rag.
Because my left shoulder was hurt, he was able to jab over my shoulder because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get my arm up in time.
Entering the 12th and final round, it was clear whoever won this round would emerge the winner.
I wanted to be convincing. You know, that was Vegas, and I didn't know he was the champion. I didn't know if they were going to give him the decision because he's Evander, and I was just a #1 contender trying to get the title. You know, I wanted to make it convincing for myself anyway. As soon as the bell rang, I shot my hands right up. I knew I'd won.
I guess the strangest thing in that fight is right at the end, he raised his hand like he really did something. I finally got angry, and I knew I had enough energy then to really get it, which made me feel bad.
For the winner by majority decision and new heavyweight champion of the world!
I don't talk about the past, I talk about what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get him.
It's a rematch. I'm going to be ready. I know he'll be ready. Evander will be at his best. I'm going to be at my best. It's going to be an excellent fight.
Now, neither Evander Holyfield or Michael Moorer can afford to live in the past if they want to emerge victorious in the rematch. Holyfield must not dwell on his previous defeat, no Moorer rest on his laurels. Now, Emmanuel Stewart, let's talk to you one more time. How big a factor will the first fight play in tonight's rematch?
I personally don't think that the first fight would be a big factor. I think both guys, for different reasons, have put the fight aside. And I think it's going to be like a total new fight all over.
Now, you know,
for the first time.
You know these fighters inside and out. You know their weaknesses and their strengths. I'd like for you to talk about their keys to victory tonight, and let's start with Holyfield.
Well, I think Holyfield has to come in and dictate right away. He cannot sit back and box Michael at a normal distance. He has to either move in and put a lot of pressure, or either move side to side. Michael's key to victory is to be prepared mentally, to have an attitude of come on with it, and be able to sit there and be ready to deal with Evander when he comes in. And after things move to another level, to dominate with his right jab.
Now, you know both fighters. As we mentioned, I've got to get your prediction on tonight's main event. Got to get one from you.
It's really hard to say. I mean,
I've got to get a prediction now.
If a person had to bet, looking at all of the statistics, you'd have to go with Evander. But there's a lot of intangibles that I'm concerned about. Will he become all overnight? Is Michael Moore going to be like Kenny Norton was to Muhammad Ali to Evander Holyfield? Maybe his style will always bother Evander. And those are things that I don't know. So it's just like a toss-up fight.
One of the great things about a heavyweight championship fight, you never know what is going to happen.
That's right. A one punch can turn the entire fight around, too.
Okay, the main event is coming up in just a couple of moments. But right now, let's go back downstairs to Jim Gray. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Well, in just a few moments, both of the fighters will walk down this walkway, and the main event will be underway. And, you know, there comes a time in every fighter's career where he must go well beyond where he has been if, in fact, he is to be recognized as a champion. That time is right now for Michael Moore. Yes, he's 39-1, and yes, he is the IBF heavyweight champion. And yes, he has already beaten Evander Holyfield. But to the boxing industry and to the public at large, Michael Moore is a nameless, faceless, paper champion. So Michael Moore tonight has a chance to establish his credibility. In fact, tonight Michael Moore is fighting for his future, whereas Evander Holyfield, on the other hand, is fighting to protect his past. Should Holyfield win here this evening, he can only further cement his place in boxing history, but it's a loose place that he has right now. And should he lose, he would be reduced to simply a man who has had a great accomplishment, but maybe not necessarily a great fighter. So for Evander Holyfield, tonight is a chance to enhance his image and to enhance his label and to make it a long-lasting one. While for Michael Moore, it's a chance to shed the label that he has. It's out there for either one of them to grab. Let's now send it across the way to Steve Albert.
Thank you, Jim. As the countdown continues, we close in on Holyfield. Moore, too. The crowd here at the Thomas and Mack Center on the campus of UNLV settling in as the anticipation builds for the main event of the evening, the battle to unify the WBA and IBF heavyweight titles. Holyfield versus Moore, two-pitch champion versus champion, but ultimately it's a story about respect and revenge. Evander Holyfield looking to exact revenge for his loss to Michael Moore in 1994. Moore is the only opponent Holyfield has never beaten. And while he's gone on to gain recognition as one of the best heavyweights ever, matching Muhammad Ali as a three-time heavyweight champion, dethroning Mike Tyson along the way, he won't feel his career is complete until he evens the score with Moore. Holyfield says he still can't erase the memory of Moore raising his hands in triumph at the end of their first fight. The normally finely tuned Holyfield looked lethargic in defeat. Meanwhile, Moore feels that Holyfield tarnished his victory by making excuses, claiming a bad shoulder, a bad heart, and not just admitting the better man won. So both have something very much to prove. Moore wants to show that his victory over Holyfield was no fluke. Holyfield hopes to leave his legacy as the greatest heavyweight of his generation. For that, he must remove the final skeleton from his closet. Back with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. And Ferdy, confidence or doubt? What do you think is going on in the minds of Holyfield and Moore right now, just minutes before the rematch?
I think Holyfield is synonymous with consistency, with maximum effort, with championship. He comes, he gives his best, he's well prepared. Nothing he can do different than fight his heart out, and he does that every fight. That's what we can expect from Holyfield. For Moore, it's the opposite. It's the inconstancy. It's the fact that he's indecisive. He doesn't know whether he wants to be a boxer or a SEAL or a Royal Mountie. You can't tell what he wants to be. One night he looks brilliant. The next night he looks journeyman. He couldn't look any worse than he did with Bean. So which one shows up, you'll never know until this bell rings, and that's why we're all here tonight. If the guy shows up who can fight like a dream, then we're going to have a wonderful night of championship fighting.
All right, let's get it back over to Bobby Ches here and talk some strategy. Do you think Evander Holyfield is going to look to lure Michael Moore into an alley fight?
Steve, I think it behooves Evander Holyfield very much to lure Michael Moore into a street cat fight. You know why? There's a distinct difference between being tough and being good. Tough is your ability to give a beating, which both of these fighters can do. Good is your ability to give a beating. Tough is your ability to take a beating. Now, Michael Moore is tough, but not as tough as Evander. We've seen Evander get up from some very bad situations, come back and win. If he gets into a brawl, that goes to Evander Holyfield.
Do you think Moore will be more aggressive than usual?
Well, you know, he may not have a choice. If Evander Holyfield comes out blazing, what will Michael Moore do? He'll either fight fast or he'll get run over. Now, if he wants to come out fast on his own, I think that would also be good for him. But Evander Holyfield is going to come to fight. He always comes to fight. Michael Moore, in this case, I believe, has no choice.
All right, let's get your keys to victory for Michael Moore.
Well, Michael Moore, it's no secret, has to use a good jab, Steve. If he's not jabbing, put him at distance. Keeping that distance and that range, there's the jab. He'll unload with the combinations right after that. He'll come in behind that jab and work Evander. And again, it's a simple thing, but that jab, another jab. The distance has to be there for him. That jab is powerful, it's strong, and look at Evander's eyes. Over the course of 12 rounds, that's what happens. It busts men up. That's what Michael Moore needs to do, establish that jab and that distance. For Holyfield, he needs to close the gap. Look how close they are here. Hands high, tight, there's not a lot of distance. On the inside, bang with that terrific left hook he has. He'll come up with right hands and another left hook. He's the powerful man. Again, Moore not as tough. There's going to be times when that gap's there. He's got to close that gap. Again, get inside, work his way in, pick off the punches, and come in behind those punches with combination. There is no mysteries to this. Both of the trainers have said it. Inside Holyfield, outside Moore. And now, again, he's back outside. That gap, no, he's got to come in. And sometimes with the southpaw, you'll throw a double right hand. Here you'll see Evander do it. 1, 2. He gets back inside where he is going to be effective. Those are his keys to win.
Well, Moore may have the style, but does he have the heart? That's a big question. Some last-minute thoughts. Will Holyfield indeed come out and set a blistering pace as he told us he would? Will he force a physical contest? Can he overcome Moore's awkward southpaw style and in-your-face jab? Major factors in Moore's 94 victory. Will Moore uncharacteristically start out aggressively, throw more combinations as opposed to his usual lulling approach? Will he be 100% focused? A major problem in the past. Is Holyfield up for this fight following his 2 mega bouts with Mike Tyson? Is he overconfident after the 2 wins over Tyson? Will the infamous ear-biting incident have any residual effect on Holyfield tonight, despite his words to the contrary? And ultimately, will Holyfield and Moore bring their best to the ring tonight? If so, the biggest winners will be the fans. And let us take a look at the IBF heavyweight champ doing his last second pacing, Michael Moore, before he heads out where the crowd can see him. He'll reportedly get $8 million for this fight. At last check, he's a 3.5 to 1 underdog. He says he's trained like he's never trained before. And although he comes in at 223 pounds, that's what he says. His new trainer, the laid-back Freddie Roach, in sharp contrast to the fiery Teddy Atlas, says Moore is happy, but it's usually tough to tell. He's always so sullen and moody. His first fight with Holyfield, his most important performance, but he has been an enigma ever since. Let's get the reaction from the crowd. Hearing some cheers and boos, it's kind of mixed as he makes his way towards the ring. A former ferocious light heavyweight champ, always needing a push as a heavyweight. Mixed reaction in the ring for Michael Moore. What more motivation or incentive could a man want than arguably the most coveted prize in sports, the heavyweight title? Michael Moore. And now we take a look at the WBA heavyweight champion, Evander Holyfield, sporting his latest badge of honor, a partial ear, courtesy of Mike Tyson, as he sings and chants his way to the ring. The deeply religious, spiritual Evander Holyfield, and the crowd already beginning to roar as they realize he is just seconds away from being in view. First fight with Moore, he lost by majority decision. He'll earn a reported $20 million for the rematch tonight. Some believe he might be taking Moore a little bit too lightly. But even Moore's camp doesn't buy that, saying he's just not the type to be distracted, too confident. Holyfield told us he's 100% healthy. Let's see if we can hear him sing. And the crowd reacts. This is truly a man at peace with himself, Evander Holyfield. Drawing inspiration from the book of Philippians. The entrance of Holyfield and Moore has energized this crowd at the Thomas and Mack. Look at this entrance. It's like a revival. He is the people's champion, Evander Holyfield, the real deal. Introductions were determined by a flip of the coin. And this crowd at the Thomas and Mack getting ready to settle in. We go to the numbers. Check the tail of the tape, brought to you by the Ring Magazine, the Bible of boxing. Holyfield turned 35 last month. Moore will be 30 in 4 days. The height almost identical. Holyfield a chiseled 214, Moore a not-so-svelte 223. That's his highest weight since 92 when he was 224. He was 212 against Vaughn Bean. And of the uniform rules for this championship unification bout, the key rules: no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental foul occurs before the end of the fourth, the fight is ruled a technical draw. After the end of the fourth, they go to the scorecards. Incomplete rounds will not be scored. So here at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, we are getting ready for the WBA IBF Heavyweight Championship. Holyfield, Moore 2. Let's get the official introductions from our ring announcer, the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from Las Vegas, the Mirage Resort welcomes you to our heavyweight championship of the world main event, brought to you by Don King Productions and Showtime Event Television in association with the Mirage Resort main events, fight night, and the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you. This unification bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Jimmy Binns, and the International Boxing Federation, President Robert Lee Sr., Supervisor Walter Stone, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Dr. Elias Ghanem. Commissioners Glenn Carano, Lorenzo Fertitta, Luther Mack, and Dr. James Nave. Executive Director Mark Ratner. Introducing to you our physicians, we have Doctors Flip Pomansky, James Game, Margaret Goodwin, and Charles Signorino. Our timekeepers at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, we have Jane Broadfoot and James Cavan. Presenting to you our judges scoring this bout from ringside, from Johannesburg, South Africa, Stanley Christodoulou. From Kent, Washington, Glenn Hamada. From Las Vegas, Nevada, Jerry Roth. right, fans, here we go. The time has come for the main event of the evening. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, it's showtime! With the rematch and unification of the WBA IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World, 12 rounds of boxing scheduled. We first present our referee in charge, the third man in the ring, working in this his 44th world title bout, Mitch Halpern. All right, fans, here we go, introducing to you first on my left, the defending world champion for the WBA in the red corner, entering the ring wearing purple trunks, hailing from and representing his hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. He weighed in at a ready 214 pounds with a record of 34 wins, 3 losses. He has 24 wins coming by way of knockout. He is only the second man in history to have captured the heavyweight crown 3 times. Please welcome the former undisputed cruiserweight world champion, the former undisputed heavyweight world champion. Here is boxing's warrior spirit, the WBA heavyweight champion of the world, introducing Evander, the real deal, Holyfield. And his opponent across the ring on my right is the defending IBF heavyweight champion, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing green trunks and hailing from Detroit, Michigan. He weighed in at 223 pounds, boxing's very first Southpaw heavyweight champion. He has compiled a record of 39 wins, 1 loss, 31 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the former light heavyweight world champion, now in his second reign as heavyweight title holder, introducing the IBF heavyweight champion of the world, known as Double M, Michael Moorer. Once again, our referee in charge, Mitch Halpern.
This will be a clean fight. Protect yourself at all times and obey my commands at all times. You guys have any questions? Okay, that's not low right there, okay? That is, all right? Touch gloves, good luck.
Around 18,500 on hand to witness this title unification. Evander Holyfield, he told us he really wanted to quit, but 2 things kept him fighting. One was the Lord, and the other his quest to unify all 3 major heavyweight titles in the ring. His opponent, Michael Moorer. He feels great, he says. Arthroscopic surgery on his right shoulder following the Vaughn Bean fight in March. No factor. Rumors that he injured his hands in training, he says, untrue. Here we go, round 1. Watch out for headbutting and possibly stepping on feet because of Moorer's southpaw style. Over the years, opponents have complained about Holyfield's headbutts, led, of course, by Mike Tyson. Holyfield claims that Moorer's lefty stance generates the headbutting.
This first round, ever so important for both fighters. If Holyfield gets fought behind Michael Moore's jab a lot, it's going to be a long night, and vice versa. If Michael Moorer can't get out of the way of Evander's stuff, it's going to be a shorter night.
Holyfield wants to drag Moorer into a brawl. Remember, even though Moorer fights in a southpaw stance, he's really a righty. His left hand is quite weak. His real power is in his right jab. Moorer not really known for his speed, somewhat flat-footed. He could be in trouble early if Holyfield wages an assault and fights from close range.
Right now, it's a jabbing contest. Evander's throwing a nice jab. Michael Moore's not throwing a bad jab. There's the right-hand counter that Evander's got to be effective with. The left hook in the right hand, and Michael Moorer trying to get the left hand down the pipe.
Moorer will have to hurt Holyfield early to gain some success. Here's a combination by Evander Holyfield, but not much effect on Moorer.
They're keeping that distance. We talked about in the telestrator earlier with Bobby. That distance is there, but the right jab has got to be established by Moorer, and he's been throwing it out, but not as hard as he did in the first fight. The first fight, It was a gonging, resounding jab, and it's not that right now. He's fighting a little tentative. Is Moore.
Right now, Evander's being very effective with his counters. 4, 5, and 6 punches. His right hand is finding the mark much more quickly than it did in the first fight. He looks a whole lot better.
What do you think about the flab around the belly of Moore?
You know, Michael Moore was very heavy, and they let the weight come down naturally to wherever he was comfortable. But my problem with that is this. If you're a young man, still under the age of 30, and you're not really leaned out, how much work did you really do, or was your diet that bad? Both of them are bad signs.
There was nothing good to be gleaned from that, not at all. And it is loose fat.
Moore coming in heavy. He is a good technician in the ring.
And bear in mind, both men got heavy punches. I don't care what they say. Both these guys knock out people. Heavy.
And many feel that Moore would crumble if Holyfield really challenges him, just jumps on him with a big physical attack. Here comes Moore.
You know, it was a good right hook. It was more of a balance shot, I think, than it was a big hard shot.
Back comes Holyfield with uppercuts.
You know, I think it was more of a balance shot where he caught him on the side of the head.
Keep squared up, boss. Put hands up at all times. Right shoulder. Listen. Don't throw the right uppercut when you're outside. Get inside first and then rip it up.
Hands up, boss. Hands up. 1 minute at a time. No water. And remember, you don't have to look for no clean shot either. That's the lane. That's the lane. Let the body use those legs.
Let's take a look at Holyfield getting hit on the side of the head. See, he did get hit, and he went back. It was a balance, a little bit of a balance, but it also was a resounding hard shot.
It was a good right hook to the temple, but I think balance had a lot to do with the movement.
You can't take anything off that, and he felt it.
Good first round action, but Moore has scored the best punch with just 15 seconds remaining. Round number 2. Remember, Mike Tyson called Evander Holyfield the best counterpuncher he'd ever seen.
Evander Holyfield was an excellent boxer, counterpuncher, and boxer puncher.
And a great left hook, too. But here comes Michael Moore trying to smother Evander Holyfield. Then he takes a big step back.
What you have to worry about now for both fighters when this fight unfolds this way is the late rounds, the attrition, the training, where I believe the nod goes to Evander.
Well, we're going to see if it gets to the late rounds, because this doesn't look like it's going to be a late round fight.
Conventional wisdom dictates that a fast-paced fight would favor Holyfield, slow-paced Moore.
I think all that goes out the window when these two guys face each other. We're through speculating. Now it's there.
There's a beautiful right uppercut counter by Evander Holyfield. Moore counters him and he covers nice.
Pretty combination by Michael Moore after the countering shots by Holyfield. So Moore ready to stand right in there and trade.
I thought Evander won the first round. He won the whole round. There's one big punch he got hit at the end. I didn't think it was enough for Moore to take the whole round from him. It's going to be a very cat and mouse type thing, I think, for the first 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah. The thing is that the counter of Evander is wonderful, but Moore fights back 3 and 4 punches at a time. He's not laying down here. This is a very, very competitive first and second round. Moore looks like he wants to jump on top of him and put some punishment on him early.
Let him up, break, step back easy, step back easy.
How about that? Michael Moore lifting Holyfield off the canvas, showing his strength.
Well, he doesn't want to be pushed around like Tyson was, and he said he wasn't going to be. So let's see when it gets to the pushing and the shoving.
Come on, let's head.
Well, that answers some questions right there. Many felt Holyfield stronger than Moore and able to push him around like he did Tyson.
Well, you know, a lot of that had to do to his styles and leverage. Tyson much shorter, his style and the way he moves. Evander used his leverage with his height. Did some very good things with his movement, his feet, and his balance. Michael Moore may just not be the same way.
Low blow by Holyfield. Being warned by Mitch Halpert. Halpert did a terrific job, and Tyson Holyfield one stepped away from the rematch after protests from the Tyson camp.
Based on the way that turned out, he was glad he did step away.
Mills Lane took over.
I think Moore is doing very well this round.
Yeah, I think this is a more round so far.
He's getting his shots in. They both established something. Holyfield in the first, Moore in the second.
Good round for Michael Moore.
Here's a good round, Michael. Deep breath. One more. There you go, son. Good job. Now, Mike, the straight left hand's working real well for you. I want you to come back with the hook to the body behind that and then off to the side. Don't stay in front of this guy, you hear me? After your combinations, you got to get off to the side, all right?
Shoulders and arms, starting the shoulders and arms. Everything open up.
When you get in front of him, you got to take off.
Put your hands off your feet, one or the other.
Let's hear what Emanuel Stewart has to say.
Well, you know, the fight is moving along the course that I would say would be the worst for Evander Holyfield. There was 3 different styles that the fight could take place, and one would be for Evander to pressure Michael and get over him close, to move around and not to box in a stationary position, which is what he's doing right now. And if this continues to go along it is, Michael's right jab is going to be a big factor, and his precision little short punches. Evander's fighting the exact wrong fight to be fighting Michael Moore.
Thank you, Emanuel. Moore looking confident and sharp. It was round 2, 3.5 years ago in which he was knocked down. A countering left hook to the head by Evander Holyfield. He looks very solid, though, right now.
Watch your head, Jimmy. Watch your head. Come
They
on.
banged heads again. Evander's trying to work that left hook to the body very well. They banged heads on the inside. That southpaw style, the way they lean over and bend into each other. Sometimes it's the feet, sometimes it's the head.
Holyfield now pressing the attack momentarily, steps back. Evander's left hook to the head.
Evander's left hook is being big.
Right uppercut by Holyfield to the chin of Moore. A straight right hand by Holyfield. Let's see if Moore has answered. Holyfield pouring it on. He scored big with a right hook.
Keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Holyfield, though, I believe is cut. Right eye area.
They banged heads. I think it was one headbutt.
Time. In that corner. Come here. Come here.
Here comes the doctor, and here comes bad
Accidental
news.
headbutt. That's called check. Accidental headbutt. Let me stick with that.
Accidental headbutt.
Mitch Halpern saw it the right way. They banged heads by accident over here.
We mentioned it at the top of round 1. Look out for the headbutting, and Holyfield looks to shake it off. A straight right hand by Evander Holyfield. Perhaps sensing the urgency of the moment, digging in with body shots, Holyfield.
Evander Holyfield's mad right now. He's fighting hard. He's fighting furious.
And he has that urgency. No question about that.
See, on the inside, he's a better fighter. He's more comfortable there. He's a more well-balanced fighter on the inside, shifting his weight in his arms top to bottom. He moves well on the inside.
The cut instigating the furious assault by Holyfield. Low blow by Moore, and then a straight right by Moore. Beating Holyfield to the punch there.
Moore's getting his jab in. He's getting his jab in, and that's going to be the key.
That's what really damaged Holyfield in the first fight, aside from the fact that his left shoulder was hurt.
And now with a cut, it's even more reason not to keep eating that jab, and he is eating the jab.
Final seconds of round 3. A round that sees a cut on Evander Holyfield.
There's another butt there. They bang heads again.
Give me that sponge. Give me that sponge.
Give him the sponge. This isn't much, Holy, so don't worry about it.
Look, Holy, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, baby.
Don't worry about it.
Here's the water. Here's the water, Holy.
All right, give me a little water.
No weapon formed against you shall prosper now. It can't.
It looks like Holyfield is praying.
I thought the same thing, Steve. I was watching. I gave him that round. He dominated the first minute very strong.
I gave that round to Moore because of his final performance at the end of it.
Yeah, but I thought Evander dominated the first minute so much more superior that he won the round. We differed for the first time.
Well, it won't be the last. This is a very good fight, Bobby. Very good.
His eye was cut by Moore in the 5th round of the first fight. And here it happens in the 3rd. We enter round 4. First evidence of blood from Holyfield's right eye about a minute or so into round 3. Jim Strickland assuring him that it was okay, the cut man in Holyfield's corner.
3 straight hard jabs to pick up where he left off. Moore getting confident now. Moore getting very confident behind that jab.
Evander looks like he's been weakened a little bit for some reason.
Let's get it over to Jim Gray quickly.
All right, Steve, I just talked to Flip Pomansky, the attending physician at ringside. He said the cut over Evander Holyfield's right eye is not serious at all right now, and it is not in any jeopardy of stopping the fight as of now. Steve.
But that was a serious left hook by Michael Moore while you were talking, Jim. That sent Holyfield reeling back a bit.
Both men are punching with a great deal of force.
Very competitive fight.
There are no light punches in this fight. They're going at it.
That's the jab that Michael Moore needs to use.
And he's
and that's the one that holds Holyfield at bay.
Holyfield just waiting to counter. His left hand down. What's he doing?
I don't know what's going on.
What's he doing?
Evander Holyfield looks like he's weakened or something's wrong.
Yep, he does.
He looks so much similar to he did in the first fight.
He was very lethargic in the first fight, with all kinds of shoulder problems, the subsequent heart problems.
Let go, break easy, come on.
But saying no excuses coming into this fight. He's 100% physically fit. And now Moore lets up, but comes back with a swift left hook to the side of Holyfield's face. Holyfield smiles in Moore's face. Straight right hand, beauty by Holyfield.
Holyfield blocked that hook with his right hand pretty nicely.
And a countering right by Holyfield, flush on Moore's face. But Moore walked right into that one.
Moore's using a nice jab again.
As soon as he does, Holyfield smiles.
That wasn't a smile. I think that was a scowl.
Yeah.
Holyfield's mad that he's walking into the jab.
And angry, Evander Holyfield coming forward. A short, crisp, straight right. He barrels in on Moore.
Get up in here.
Again, that beautiful left hook by a left hook by Holyfield. A countering left by Evander Holyfield. Moore comes back. What an exchange.
Moore is pounding on the inside as well. That's not all one way.
Well, this is the fight you wanted, America.
No weapon formed against you shall prosper, Holy.
Give me that sponge.
I go to the ice bag.
Give me an ice bag. Give me an ice
I go to the
bag.
ice bag. Pass it when he put it behind his head.
Van, you listening? When you get in front of him, don't throw the right hand so long, short, and quick.
No weapon formed against you
You
shall
hit him with
prosper,
a left
baby.
hook in the body and he held you.
Okay. Let's take a look and see if we can, if we can see it. 1 round ago where that cut might have taken. They did butt heads there. It didn't look like that big, but anything can happen with.
Doesn't have to be big. It's an eye with scar tissue.
It doesn't.
But the cut over Holyfield's eye seeming not to be a factor in round 4. We enter round 5. Hey, maybe Michael Moore truly does respond better to trainer Freddie Roach's TLC approach than he did to the tough love of Teddy Atlas. We'll see.
Well, I think he's doing very well here. This is a very, very close fight. Either way, whichever way you got it at home, it's close.
just changed. Shades of Holyfield Tyson. The crowd trying to urge Holyfield on.
See, Holyfield on the inside works nice. He digs that left hook, but he can't let Michael Moore push him back and stuff that jab. The right uppercut on the inside for Michael Moore, also very effective.
They've got a battle going on not only in the ring but in the stands. Fans yelling Holyfield, then Moore. Holyfield 3 rounds to 1 by virtue of the online scoring. Straight right followed by a left hook by Moore. Effective punches that landed.
You know, Evander Holyfield, I don't know what he looks like. He's looking for something. He can't find his rhythm, or maybe he's a little tired or something's wrong. He just looks a little off, a little bewildered.
He looks a little tired, and bewildered is the word.
The question is, the distractions perhaps during the week, are they taking their toll?
I think the biggest toll it's taking right now is Moore's punching him silly. That's what I think he's doing. I mean, he's punching him to the body. That left hook is getting him dizzy. I mean, not the hook, but the jab, the right jab is getting him dizzy.
Or all of the above. Perhaps a combination of things.
And perhaps remember what we said. This might be the night that he turns old. You just don't know in boxing. He's right now apparently leading this fight.
A lot of blood around the eye of Evander Holyfield, and it is target practice for Michael Moore with that right jab.
We talked about that jab being key. Evander Holyfield has not neutralized it as much as he was supposed to.
Oh, a left hook by Michael Moore, and that stunned Holyfield.
You know, every man's got a bullet with his name on it. Michael Moore just might be the bullet. Would he be? Oh!
A straight right hand by Holyfield, and down goes Moore out of nowhere. 5, 6. Moore looks over to his corner and says he's okay.
You okay, bud?
13 seconds to go. Fortunately for Moore, it's at the end of the round. They resume with 8 seconds.
Take 3 looks at that. Oh, smashing right hand. That was enough to put away anybody.
And Michael Moore did the right thing by going down and catch his rest. You watch that right hand. Evander Holyfield sets him up, throws a right hand right down the middle. You'll see a jab, an uppercut, jab, bang. And down he goes.
You hear the crowd reacting to the big screen.
Well, there's no question. As we just keep your eye on the right hand. There it is. It's just a perfect punch where it should be. Just when Moore was starting to have his way, things changed.
It happened 2:35 in, round 5. Moore down from a right on the chin. Here we go, round 6. The second time Moore is down against Evander Holyfield in the 2 fights. Look out! WWF tactics by Michael Moore. Apologizing to Holyfield.
Let's go, come on, let's go. Keep it clean.
I'm not sure what that was about.
Boy, just about everything has happened to Evander Holyfield in the ring. What's next?
Well, there's no parachutes available.
Okay.
At least he can't come through the roof. Well,
the whole promotion, ironically, has been marked by the politeness and respect for each other. But that goes out the window in the ring.
Right now we see that Moore is not punching with the intensity he had just when he was getting on that road where it looked like he was finding the range and it looked like Holyfield was slowing down.
Look at these doubling up of left hooks by Holyfield. Ferocious shots by Holyfield.
Holyfield with a nice triple left hook there. Started in the body, then a double up top to the head. That's the punch that was the nemesis for Moore the first time. This time was a straight right hand.
But Moore comes right back inside against Holyfield.
He's just not punching hard. He's not punching as hard. He needs this round to recover, I believe.
Moore knocked down in the last round late. of Evander Holyfield, bloody, the right side.
Evander Holyfield does look tired to me, gentlemen. I don't know what, it just seems to be something's off. It seems like he has a repeat in the first fight. Maybe Michael Moore just is the nemesis because he was down in both fights, but Evander has not looked strong in both.
Well, Moore has dished out his share of punishment and has taken steam out of Holyfield. Holyfield wincing, trying to get the blood out of his right arm.
Well, this has turned out to be a super heavyweight fight. Both guys equally matched. Any one can take the other out in a minute. So now we got drama. We got bleeding. We got tiring Holyfield and a guy who has dropped Moore. Excellent, excellent drama.
That blood is bothering Holyfield. He's trying to rub it away. It's getting into the right eye.
Let's not forget, if they stop this on cuts because of an accidental bite, we still go to the scorecards.
If an accidental foul occurs before the end of the fourth, the fighters rule the technical draw after the end of the fourth. Indeed, to the card. It's round 6.
Holyfield surprised a little bit by not opening up and going right after Moore. When he had him down, he's let him off the hook.
They thought it was a low blow from the Moore corner by Holyfield.
That was not a low blow, though. That was on the belt and above. The belt is legal.
Holyfield able to block that left hook. That's something he was unable to do for most of the first fight because of injury.
Get in your rhythm. Get in your rhythm. Come on, sit down. Give him the sponge. Ice bag. Who's behind me?
Spody. They ain't putting the punches together, baby. You got to have your punches put together now. You're getting too tall, too.
Keep that close.
Hey, stay small and put your punches together, baby, to get this guy out of here.
Don't try too hard. It's going to come.
Here's the water.
Get him a water.
When you're small, you're powerful. When you're small, you're powerful. Here, drink this one. Drink this one.
Well, it's his technique born out of desperation, I think. Yeah, I do. He was a linebacker in his day. But I wouldn't like to lift him like that. That's heavy work. I don't think that does Moore any good at all.
Personally, I'm too lazy.
Well, let's see what Mr. Holyfield's got in mind for Mr. Moore.
Emmanuel Stewart, you've trained both these guys. Your thoughts at this point?
Well, you know, the way the fight is going right now is, to me, still favoring Michael Moore. Even though Evander has been looking good, Michael seems to be more sturdy, and this is the pace and the distance that he likes to operate from. Evander should either start moving from side to side, either go strictly to the inside and try to fight from inside. But at this stage that he's fighting in, Michael Moore seems much more stabilized, much more comfortable, and that right jab is becoming more and more of a big factor in the fight.
All right, Emmanuel, thank you very much. Halfway through the bout could be some interesting scoring.
You know, Holyfield wasting a lot of energy jumping around and bouncing like that. He could step and just be as easy, you know, moving from side to side. He's trying to get into a rhythm, though. You heard Don Turner say get into a rhythm. Maybe this is his rhythm, a la Terry Norris, but I just don't see it.
Guys, your unofficial numbers at the halfway mark.
I have got Michael Moore and Holyfield tied.
I have Holyfield ahead by a couple of points with the knockdown.
Look out! Moore's in trouble. A straight right hand by Holyfield, looking to put Moore down.
And this time he doesn't have enough time to sweat it out.
There was a delayed reaction here. Moore almost went down and refound his balance. Again, it's the toughness is what we're talking about. The good and the tough both can give good beatings. But who's tougher? There's another stagger.
Moore momentarily days in the left hook. Again, wobbles him. He's being rocked. A straight right hand pushes Moore back. Moore has been staggered.
Too much time. Too much time. Moore has got too much time to kill. Holyfield should attack with everything.
Both fighters are squared up fighting, but they're very tired.
A 15-second barrage by Evander Holyfield. He continues to come forward and down goes Moore. Down to one knee. Second knockdown for Holyfield.
5, 6, 7, 8.
He gets up on 8, but he has 55 seconds.
He looked at his corner real hard, and everybody said, get up. So he did.
Could this be the end? Moore in dire trouble. 40 seconds ago, right up the top, down he goes again. There's no 3 knockdown rule.
This is headed toward a 10 7 rounds.
6, 7. Hey, look at me, you all right?
Down at 155, again at 220. Can he survive the final 25 seconds? Back comes Holyfield in furious fashion. Looking to end it here in round 7. Mora fighting back with all his heart. A right on the temple. Uppercut, left hook by Holyfield.
Michael Moore is taking some big shots, and he's fighting back.
He's going to make it.
And there's the bell. Moore gets through it.
Whoa.
Nice deep breath, son. Get some ice on his neck, please. Some water. And a cup.
Yeah, more ice, well.
Nice deep breath, Michael. There you go.
Welcome back. How you doing? You okay?
Come on.
All right, let's take a look at that first punch that gets him in trouble. It's a hook, and you see him, it's just too much for him. 2 right hands. It looks like he's on the way down, and all he needs is to finish it.
Now you'll see the first knockdown. Evander Holyfield knows he has his man in trouble. Michael Moore trying to sustain. Right uppercut on the inside. Beautifully timed, right between the gloves. Perfect shot.
All right, this is second knockdown, apparently second knockdown, and that, again, is the fact that a nice uppercut came in there, right uppercut. I'll tell you one thing, you can't question his guts.
Michael Moore down 3 times in the fight, twice in the 7th. We enter into round 8. Well, he certainly sheds that heartless, lackluster tag tonight. Michael Moore in the green.
And people who thought they might see a dull fight can forget it. This is excitement in the heavyweights.
I had that last round 10-7, which gives Evander a commanding lead. 2 times, almost 3.
And here's how the online viewers see it. 6-1 Holyfield through 7.
He's absolutely far, far ahead. About the only way he can lose this now is to get knocked out himself.
I have it 4-2 and 1 even.
A frantic assault in the last round by Evander Holyfield, putting Moore to the canvas twice. But he couldn't finish him off. Moore is showing a lot of guts.
Watch your heads. Come on. Watch his heads.
You know that thing I was talking about earlier, the good and the tough, both good fighters. Evander tougher than Michael Moore. The difference, it is clearly the difference here tonight.
All right, break. Easy, gentlemen. Don't punch. Don't punch.
Well,
don't
if there was
punch.
a question about Moore's conditioning because of his fat, those 3 knockdowns kind of answer the question. He may be fat, but he's got guts and he's got conditioning. Back here fighting. Now the question is, how far does Holyfield get tired? We've seen him get tired in almost every fight except the Tyson fight. Now let's see what happens.
Break. Don't punch. Don't punch. Good.
Sometimes Holyfield needs to get hit to get it going, and that's what we saw here tonight. That was blocked partially, but there he goes again. Combination. He's down for the 4th time. Michael Moore rolling around the canvas with a minute to go in the
8th. 7, 8. You okay?
Really upset with himself. He gets up at 8 again. They'll have 50 seconds to survive. It happened 151 in round 8. Down for the 4th time, Michael Moore.
Holyfield is fighting like a great champion.
That wobbled Michael Moore again.
Michael Moore's legs are not totally under him. He's not sturdy. Right now you see him, he's leaning off to the side. Michael Moore is getting hurt by Evander.
1 or 2 more punches could end it for Holyfield.
Well, he's delivered them and it doesn't do anything.
25 seconds and counting.
Look who's going back.
Look at Moore waving Holyfield on. He is game.
I'll tell you what, if he loses here tonight, he'll gain more fans and friends with this fight than he has in many of his victories.
Michael Moore's stock goes up regardless.
Yes, indeed.
Look at that right uppercut to the chin by Holyfield. Oh, down he goes for the 5th time.
This fight's over, gentlemen. This is it.
Down on his back, Stroll.
6, 7.
He's going to make it.
8. That's 7. Punch to me. Hey, you all right? You want to keep going?
The bell ends the round.
What an incredible fight. A few more of those, and the corner's going to have to start asking, do you want to send this guy back out for more of that?
Now I believe Michael Moore cannot win a decision because he's too far in the hole. Every round, 2 points, 3 points.
Look at me, Michael.
Look at Flip.
I know it's okay.
It's over. The fight's over right now.
It just ended as we started this replay. They are waving it off. Michael Moore cannot answer the bell for round 9. It is all over after 5 knockdowns.
I think that was...
If it ended in the 8th round, he'd be doing very well.
Yeah, well.
I said between 8 and 9, and what is it? Exactly between 8 and 9.
Bobby, a vicious assault by Evander Holyfield, but by the same token, tremendous heart by Michael Moore.
Michael Moore impressed me tonight. I thought he came here ready to fight. I thought he was in better condition than normal, even though he didn't look it appear it. He took some tough shots, and that's the thing I was talking about, that toughness factor. The toughness factor is why I gave the nod to Evander. I knew this would be a shootout.
The over-under, Bobby, was 9.5. The under-bettors won. Evander Holyfield, a 3.5 to 1 favorite.
And it's funny, they asked me what I thought, and I said Holyfield in 8 or 9, and it was exactly between 8 and 9.
There you go.
At 3 minutes of the 8th, because the 9th bell never started.
Hold on.
Holyfield now 1/3 away from achieving his dream of unifying the heavyweight title. He secures his WBA heavyweight belt and once again adds the IBF heavyweight title to his growing collection. The question now, is WBC heavyweight champ Lennox Lewis next to complete the trifecta? Holyfield's lawyer Jim Thomas told me getting a fight with Lewis, big business, complicated, dealing with the networks and promoters. The courts are now involved. Mandatory challengers want to get their shot. It may not happen. Let's see if we can decipher the scoring through 8 rounds.
You know, Steve, I had it 78-70, and here you see 78-69, 78-70, and 78-69. We were all on target.
There you go.
Michael Moore won the couple of rounds he did, but Evander won every round by 2 points and some 3 points. 2 knockdowns. It's a 10-7 round. Here you clearly see him. 2 knockdowns, 10-7.
That was a 7.
And, you know, it's just 7th and the 8th, as well as the 10-8 round in the 5th.
Holyfield by TKO, end of the 8th. Referee stops the bout. We'll get the official word from Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at the end of round number 8. A referee in charge, Mitch Halpern, stops the contest on advice of the ringside physician, Dr. Flip Homensky. The winner by way of technical knockout, and he is now the WBA and IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Evander, the real deal, Holyfield.
So there he is, the WBA and IBF heavyweight champion, Evander Holyfield. Jim Gray is standing by in the ring with Evander Holyfield.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Evander Holyfield, congratulations. First, let's talk about in the second round. What happened to your eye, and how much did that scare you that the fight may be stopped?
First of all, I just got to give honor to the Lord. He's always good, even in the tough battles.
Now on to the question here. Your eye in the second round, did it bother you? Were you afraid that it could stop the fight, and how did it happen?
You know, I wasn't afraid. You know, I don't know if I got hit in the eye or hit, but you know, because by him being southpaw, we come in together, and you know, I just know I had blood in my eye, but you know, you got to understand, I don't have about 4 or 5 fights with the same thing, and you know, when it's not the first time, you don't panic. You realize that you know you got capable cut man in your corner, and they can stop it.
Let's take a look at the headbutt here, Evander. If we look here at the monitor, this is approximately when it occurred. As we look at it, tell us.
Well, you know, I was going to the body. And, you know, and we both were going to the body, and you know, you have to step forward with your head, and it's just unfortunate I came up with the cut.
Let me ask you now, Evander, until the 5th round, it looked like Michael Moore was going to be your nemesis again, and then you knocked him down at 235. Tell us about the fight up until that time, because it looked as though you might be in trouble.
Well, you know, I wasn't in trouble. The thing is that Mike got a good jab, and I either can try to match his jab and lose my game plan. I realized that if I could just not get hit with the jab as many times I got what happened the first fight, then, you know, I was a lot better. You know, even, you know, my arm wouldn't bother me, and I could slip some of the jabs off my shoulder and I was able to hold him off.
Was there something wrong with your left hand and your left arm? It looked as though it was drooping again.
No. I dropped it on purpose because figured that, you know, it would make him charge in and I have a cleaner shot. You know, I was able to hit him with clean right hands, but the thing is I couldn't follow up with a combination. He was able to get away from the second punch.
As Janice attends to your eye, tell us now about that big 7th round. He went down twice. Let's take a look at a couple of those. Are you surprised he got up?
Well, no, because it's the sure win of an individual.
This right here is the last one.
Well, you know, deep down inside, when people come to win, in their mind they already say, "Is anything happen? I'm getting back up." So he was able to get back up each and every time, and that just showed the courage and the heart that he had. He came to win. And, you know, when you have a guy that come to win, there's always going to be a good fight. You know, there's no quitting, and there's a proven fact that, you know, regardless of what you say, there's an individual themselves that to show that determination.
What about next for you, Evander? Will it be Lennox Lewis, or will you take the mandatory fight, or what is going to be your position?
You know, right now, Don King is the promoter, and if Don King can work something out, whether Lennox Lewis and I can fight, and I'm ready because I am on the promotion with Don King, and I'm the type of person I honor my contract, and I'm willing to do what's necessary to show everybody they ain't #1 champion, and you know I'm willing to put it all on the line.
Your eye is a little hurt tonight, but it looks like you made it through okay, huh?
Well, you know, God is good, and he's good all the time, even with the lumps and the bumps.
Congratulations to you, Evander. We look forward to the next fight. All right, now let's send it over to Ferdy Pacheco.
All right. Should that fight have been stopped?
No, Flip had asked me in the corner. He asked was all right. I looked right at him. I said I'm fine.
How about Freddie? Freddie here. What do you think?
I agree. Michael seemed to be fine. I was talking to him. I asked Michael a couple questions. I made sure that he was okay. He answered me back fine.
Your fight was one of the strong and toughest fights I've seen in a long time. How many times can you go down before you're going to quit this thing?
There was no 3 knockdown rule. I was ready to fight. I like fights like that.
You like to go down like that and get up and fight?
Yeah, I'm a champion.
Did you think you were pretty even with him until he knocked you down?
Yes.
Or ahead?
I think I was probably maybe 1 round ahead, but he had the knockdown, so it was a 10-8 round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, he had knocked you down 3 times and 2 times. You know, it was getting to be a yo-yo contest for your own health.
I still got up and fought, though, Doc.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. You're great. You were great at that. But for your own safety, it was a good thing. You'll fight another day because now you're bigger than ever. For this fight, you fought. You erased all doubt that you're a top heavyweight. No doubt about it. So from here, where do you go?
Well, I beat him first time. He beat me this time. Let's do it in the 3rd time.
Well, that's brave words after a fight like that. Let me go back to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ferdy. I'm now with Dr. Flip Homansky, made the decision, or requested to the referee that he stop the fight. But let's go back just a moment here to Evander Holyfield's eye. Was there ever any time where you considered stopping the fight because of what happened over his right eye?
No, Jim. The cut was going to get messy. There was bleeding, but it was lateral to the eye. I didn't think it was affecting his vision, and I was comfortable with that.
Then we go into the 8th round. You made the recommendation after the round ended to stop the fight to Mitch Halpern.
I was comfortable with each decision Mitch did with the knockdowns. When I checked him the round before, he was sharp, he was focused. I had no problem with it going on. When I checked him that last time, he did not focus. He did not look at me when I needed him to, and it was my impression that he shouldn't go on, and Mitch agreed.
Flip, thank you. Obviously, Mitch Halpern here now joining us. You agreed. Were you close to stopping the fight anyway after the 5th knockdown?
Well, anytime you have a lot of knockdowns like that, you get close. But again, every time Michael Moore got up, he looked me straight in the eye, asked me if he wanted to continue fighting, and he did. So I let him give him a chance to compete.
After each of those knockdowns, the first couple, it was still a very game fight. As a referee, though, you've got to wonder when a guy's taken 1 punch too many. Were any of those knockdowns specifically, any one of them 1 through 5, worse than the other in your evaluation?
You know, that's hard to say. The bottom line is the condition he had when he got up from the knockdowns. He got up at the mandatory 8. You know, he looked me square in the eye. He answered my questions, so, you know, he was ready to go.
Mitch, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's send it back now to Steve Albert.
Thank you, Jim. 8 rounds of blazing action. The referee stopping it on the advice of Dr. Flip Homansky after round number 8. Michael Moore put to the deck 5 times by Evander Holyfield. And let's take a look at the online scoring results from our main event. Here's the way the online voting for the fight went. Holyfield convincingly 7 rounds to 1 over Michael Moore. But there is no denying the courage of Michael Moore after what we witnessed here tonight. If you took part of the online voting, we thank you for your participation. Bobby Ches, let's go to the telestrator and check things out.
We're going to watch Evander Holyfield. What he does so very, very well is he closes the gap. He gets to the inside where he's got to get. And I'll tell you what, right here you'll see the distance. This isn't quite the distance Michael Moore wants, but Evander works his way in with a jab, takes a right hand to the body. Once he's inside, you'll see the uppercuts come right here, catch Michael clean, hooks around the side, body work. As we roll the tape, Evander comes in, throws a straight right, not quite to the body. There's the hook. Now watch the uppercut. He's inside. Here's where he's effective. He's the inside fighter. That right uppercut did a ton of damage. Michael's hurt. He's in trouble. He's on his way to floor, and here's a combination basically to just finish him off. He was on his way there after the uppercut. Evander closed the gap, got inside, and did what he does best.
As Evander Holyfield makes his exit and heads back to the dressing room as the WBA and IBF heavyweight champion of the world, the Thomas and Mack Center here in Las Vegas, the site of Holyfield's victory. Let's get it back to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. I'm now joined by Don King, the promoter of tonight's events. Don, a terrific fight here. Where do we go now with Evander Holyfield, considering all the complexities involved with Lennox Lewis?
Well, I think the world is waiting Evander Holyfield Tyson 3. I think that was a lot of unanswered questions there that were stopped when the bizarre incident happened in the Man City.
But that's at least November away. We're talking about a year away.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, but the big fights. You're talking about fights that's going to happen, Jim, and you got to be able to plan for fights. Evander's got a cut eye right now, and he got to get that eye to be healed. But the people want to see fights like they seen tonight. You know what I mean? And this was a great evening of boxing, and I think that the presence of what we're doing in boxing is so great now because this is America. You know what I mean? The man has suffered contrition. He's ready. He's already apologized to the world. Hey, let's bring this guy back in and let's get this thing started and bring Tyson back. Evander Holyfield is great.
That's still some time away, Don. Lennox Lewis told us tonight on the air here that he would be willing to listen to you and consider jumping networks to this network if, in fact, you and all the other people can work things out. Your response to that, and is Lennox Lewis next on the list if things can be worked out?
I would love to talk to Lennox Lewis, and I think that Panos and Maloney and his brother, Lennox's brother, all of them, I would be happy to do business with them in any way that I can because I want to give the fans what's best. And what's best for the fans is what's best for me because I'm a promoter of the people. And so, therefore, I would be happy, and I'm glad that he told you that. So I know he wouldn't tell a lie. So I know he'll sit down and we'll talk, and I'm looking for you. Lennox, where are you?
Now, let me ask you real quickly. He's right here in the arena, Don. Let me ask you real quickly your response to what Mike Tyson said the other night in his interview. Do you feel as though the commission will be fair when they review it?
Yes, I feel the commission will be fair, and I feel that Mike should be reinstated because he's suffered. And if you look at the aggregate of all the punishment and fines that's in the history of the sports, not boxing, all of them, the aggregate, basketball, hockey, baseball, football, and whatever, the fine that he paid is more severe than all of them, I think 3 times as much as the history of the world. So I think he paid his fine. I think that he's also had a revocation of his license. He's suffered 6 months, and his activity has not been anything but proper. Well, he may be looking for doubt and be under the auspices that it won't happen. I'm under the auspices that it will happen because the public, in America, this is the greatest nation in the world, and we're a forgiving nation, and that's what makes us the great nation that we are, is because we understand, we stop and forgive, and we give people another chance. And I think that Mike Tyson deserves that.
All right, Don. Now, let's move on. What will be the next fight, which will occur on Showtime as well as our next pay-per-view bout?
Well, we got great fights coming up in store for Showtime Championship Boxing. I've just had the pleasure of signing a young man who was with a former or with another promoter. I don't recall his name, but I'll let him tell you. This is Johnny Tapia. He had that great fight with Romero, and he came out strong. He has a background similar to mine, and he's demonstrated that what can happen in America.
Nobody's background can be similar to yours.
Oh, yes, we had struggles and things and trials and tribulations, but we overcome them because we have faith in God. We have the greatest nation in the world, black and white alike, that works together along with Latinos.
So he'll be on your next card. He'll be on your next card. And when will that be? Where?
December 13th in Pompano Beach. We will have Johnny Tapia taking on Andy Augusto, and that will be one of the feature attractions. That will be on USSB, and on Showtime on December the 5th, we got fabulous Frankie Lyles. But let me start out with little Johnny Tapia here. Say hello to Johnny Tapia. Jim, this is the man of the hour right here, Johnny Tapia and his beautiful wife, Teresa.
You're ready to move over here and do some good things, huh?
I'm ready to do the best. First of all, I'd like to say who's the best promoter in the whole wide world is Don King. I'm real happy. He's done good for me, and I'm going to appreciate being on his team.
Johnny, we look forward to seeing you fight. Donna, was a terrific show tonight. Congratulations to you.
Let's go what you got. Wait a minute. You got fabulous Frankie Lyles who'll be fighting on December the 5th. against Carlos Cruz, and you got this young man here, Freddie Pendleton. He will also be fighting on December the 13th against Vince Phillips. Where's Vince Phillips in here? And you got there's William Joppy, the former middleweight champion, will be fighting again. You know, so you got a crew here, Shamba Mitchell, who will be fighting the #1 contender for the WBA fight for 140 pounds. So he will be there. So Showtime Championship Boxing is looking for an illustrious year. No limits to what's going to happen in 98. You heard of the outer space and the outer limits. Well, Showtime, there's no limits. We're going to the moon.
But
and everybody
tonight, Don,
Showtime Championship Boxing.
Thank you, Don.
USSB,
Tonight belongs, however, to Evander Holyfield. We have enough for a football huddle up here. Football, pro football tomorrow. Let's go back now to Steve Albert.
Get ready, Mike. Let the people know you're ready to fight 13 years in the ring without any type of...
As Don King trails off into the sunset, into the hearts of so many fans, walks Evander Holyfield. He's the victor, WBA, IBF heavyweight champ, now 35-3 with 25 knockouts, avenges his 1994 loss to Michael Moorer. And here is the man who lost, a dejected but very game and competitive Michael Moorer on a compelling night. Our main event, Holyfield Moorer 2. It was a thriller, no question about it. You see a study in contrast there between Holyfield and Moorer. Your final thoughts, Bertie?
The perpetual picture, the winner and the loser. In this case, I'm not sure there was any loser here because Moorer reestablished himself as a great heavyweight fighter with a lot of heart. I don't think there was a loser. This was a great night. The fans won tonight. I'm happy we saw a championship fight between two determined guys, a perfect exhibition of guts and brains and fighting. Thank goodness for that.
So a lot of drama here tonight, Bobby.
Oh, yeah, Steve, a lot of drama. And like I said, the toughness factor I thought would prevail. Evander Holyfield a little tougher than Michael, but Michael, he looked good. He got up from some vicious knockdowns, ready to fight, Steve, and I think that's important. He got up ready to fight. He showed the world that he is the heavyweight that we all thought he was.
And Evander Holyfield, meanwhile, remains the people's champion. That'll do it from here at ringside. Let's go back upstairs to our host, Jim Hill, along with Emmanuel Stewart. Jim?
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Well, with Emmanuel Stewart, now I see why you did not and refused to make a prediction on tonight's main event.
It was a very good fight. I figured it would be a good fight. It turned out to be more drama than I even expected.
I mean, when you and I were talking, the thing you said was, man, this is one hell of a fight.
It was a good fight. You know, even though Michael Moorer was knocked down all of those times, and they were really vicious knockdowns, if you look very closely, his eyes was clear every time he arose. And it was amazing, and still it was a danger of him landing the punch that could have hurt Evander.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, it was indeed one heck of a main event. All right, now, let's recap tonight's championship quadruple header that was headlined by the Holyfield-Moorer main event. Imamo Mayfield is the new IBF Cruiserweight champion with a unanimous decision over Uriah Grant.
This young kid, Mayfield, could be a great, great champion. He showed me a lot of talent, a lot of class.
And indeed, he is the new champion of the IBF Cruiserweight division. Next up, the WBA featherweight title. Wilfredo Vasquez retained his title over Gennaro Rios in somewhat of a controversy right here.
Vasquez was very lucky to come out with the title. Most of the observers here at the ringside and also the judges that was unofficial thought he lost the fight. But
meanwhile, Nate Miller was talking the talk, but he couldn't walk the walk and lost his WBA Cruiserweight title to Fabrice Tioso.
It was simply a case of a champion underestimating his challenger.
And just that simple, right?
That's
because he looked lazy and out of shape and just took him for granted. And then, of course, we move on now to our main event, Holyfield versus Moorer. And this was an amazing match as Michael Moorer was knocked down 5 times.
It was a very exciting fight. The knockdowns were very good, brutal knockdowns. And mainly when Evander got in close is when he did his damage because he knows how to punch and move forward at the same time. And it was the inside punching that was most effective for him.
And it was amazing. Both fighters did and didn't do exactly what you said they should and shouldn't do. Okay, so here's another look at our results tonight. Imamo Mayfield showed he has a great deal of talent by beating Uriah Grant to become the new IBF Cruiserweight champion. And in a controversial decision, Wilfredo Vasquez retained his WBA featherweight championship over Gennaro Rios, who didn't even get to town until 11:30 last night. Nate Miller, well, he gave a very uninspiring and a pitiable performance, and he lost his WBA Cruiserweight title to Fabrice Tioso of France. And in the main event, it was one heck of a fight. It was Michael Moorer going down 5 times by Evander Holyfield, who is now the IBF and the WBA heavyweight champion of the world. Now, Emmanuel, you've worked both with Holyfield and Michael Moorer. I'm wondering right now, what's next for these guys right now in your mind?
Well, I think that Michael Moore right now is going to fight again. I think he reestablished himself, probably the best that he's fought in his last 10, 11 fights. So he is definitely a very marketable fighter now. I think Evander Holyfield is going to make every effort, as he indicated tonight, to try to unify the heavyweight championship fight with Lennox Lewis.
Okay, that's what I was getting to. You train and fight and manage Lennox Lewis. What are you going to tell him when you go back and talk to him now?
Oh, I think it'll be a good fight. I mean, I didn't see nothing that made me afraid, but I feel that whoever wins the fight should win. I'm not concerned about whether my guy can beat another guy. You know, everyone should get together to try to have one heavyweight champion of the world. You can have fragmented champions in other divisions, but when a person walks in the room, you want to say that's the heavyweight champion of the world, that's Muhammad Ali, it's Mike Tyson. It shouldn't be, well, which one is it, the WBO or the WBA? You know, the heavyweight champion of the world should be one person for the betterment of boxing, and regardless of who wins or loses, I want to see the fight take place between Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield.
When would you like to see that fight take place? How soon?
As soon as Evander Holyfield can heal up. I think that should be maybe around May or June or next year, or maybe even sooner.
And it would be one heck of a fight as well.
Anytime, yeah, it's got to be a good fight.
Okay, listen, Emmanuel Stewart, thank you so very much for being with us. We've enjoyed having you up here with us, and next time we see you, maybe you'll be in the corner down there or something. Emmanuel Stewart, Hall of Fame trainer. And for all of us here in Las Vegas, this is Jim Hill saying good night. This has been a presentation of King Vision Pay-Per-View Limited Showtime Event Television. King Vision Executive Producer, Don King.
This has been a promotion of Don King Productions in association with Main Events Fight Night and The Mirage. Brought to you by Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers. This